Hi guys, I'm trying this a second time. So if you've already seen this, it's the exact same project you just saw 10 minutes ago. I had some issues with my video, and so I thought I would condense it. I'll get rid of that old video and you'll see everything all together here. Okay, let me start again. My name is Betty Sakosha. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and the team leader for the Power of Positive Inking. I am here on Tuesday night. Tuesday night live is usually my thing that I do, and it is Tuesday, December 27th. December 27th. It's almost the end of the year. And I have some new products that are coming in the new catalog. So our brand new mini catalog, not so mini, but mini catalog starts January 5th. I can show you the cover, and then I cannot show you what's inside. But I do have some projects or a project to show you tonight, using the same set of supplies that I used last week on another project. So if you didn't see that, you might want to go back and check out that video as well. This is well, let me just get started and I'll show you. Okay, hopefully all will go well with this. I can't really see all of your comments, and by all, I mean any. If you do have any comments, please leave them, and I promise I will get back to you when I have a chance to, when I can actually see them. Okay, so this is the new catalog. Okay, so it's got a lot of really fun stuff in it, a lot of new fresh product in it. I am not allowed to open it on camera until January the 5th, but I can show you some projects made with it. So that's what I'm doing here tonight. So I'm going to move it out of the way. I'm going to open to the page so I can tell you all the important things that are on that page. So when you get your catalog on page 8 and 9, and actually, yeah, 8 and 9 and 10 and 11, you will see a set of products from the Country Floral Lane. And it coordinates, this stamp set called Country Bouquet coordinates with it. And there is some, let me start by telling you, there is a punch that matches it. So these stamps, I'll get more into this at a different video. And if you go back and watch the video from last week, you will see it in there because I actually used the punch. I'm not using the punch today, but you need to know that it comes with a punch. Sold, right? Anything that comes with a punch, in my mind, is sold. Okay, there is a gorgeous pack of paper called the Country Floral Lane 12 by 12 designer series paper. One side of the paper is always busier, more detail than the other. So this is that side of the paper. So there are like pinky, peachy colors, as well as some pretty blues and greens, some deeper, redder colors with some darker greens. These images, actually the punch that I just showed you here, actually cuts these images right out. So you can either stamp them and cut them out, or you can use the designer series paper and punch them right out. Love this paper here. Looks so springy and bright and festive. I would love a shirt like this. Love this as well because it's not screaming Valentine. You could use this for anything, which is really nice. And this is my favorite. I love these bikes on this paper. I think it is adorable. Anyway, there's not a bike in the stamp set, but if you own an old die set that has bikes, it's going to go really nice with this paper. You know what I'm talking about if you own it. Okay, when I turn it over, as is traditional with Stampin' Up, one side of the paper is very kind of busier, lots more action, and the other side is a little bit more neutral. So here is your neutral side that you can use with a lot of different things. There are hearts on there for sure, but they're not, you could use it for a lot of different things. Okay, so that paper is coming forth on January 5th. I'm actually not using that paper tonight, but I am going to make a very kind of traditional Valentine card. So I'll be using traditional Valentine colors. So the stamps that I'm using, this stamp set has it all. It's got a bunch of greetings as well as two-step stamping. So I'm going to use these tonight and I'll show you how they work together, as well as distinctive stamps, which means stamps that are not, they don't stamp flat. So this stamp is flat, if you will. The image when you stamp it, everything is the same depth, whereas this one here has some dimension to it when you stamp it, or depth to it, I guess, when you stamp it. So it's not intended to just stamp flat. It's supposed to look more like, I don't know, distinctive, I guess. Okay, so let me bring in, I'm going to bring in a paper piercing mat. Because this is a photopolymer stamp set, I want to make sure that I'm getting the best image possible. And so I'm using something that has a little squish to it, which is a paper piercing mat or a catalog or a mouse pad or something like that. Okay, the first thing I want to do is actually bring in a die that I have used previously that you have seen before. The die set is called the Framed Florets Dies, and they came out within the past couple months. They are new to our brand new catalog, but we were able to pre-order them as demonstrators, and then customers were also able to pre-order them. So you may have seen these if you've been following me for a little while. These are the things that the dies cut out. So what I'm working with today is this die here, which cuts out these hearts in an oval shape. But I wanted to show you that the actual the oval is not actually cut out. Okay, so when you place this on your cardstock and run it through, you're not cutting out an oval. You're just cutting out the hearts in the shape of an oval. Okay, so I like to use, in order to keep it where I want it, I like to use my, this is like sticky note tape. I don't know what you call it, but it's repositionable tape that you can run through, and you can use it several times. It works well. So this is what I use when I'm using my Big Shot. So when I run that through my Big Boss, my Stampin' Up! Cut and Emboss machine, I'm left with this. So you can see it did not cut out the oval. It cut out all of the hearts in the shape of an oval. And there are a lot of hearts, and these are left on your cutting plate, so you can definitely use these. Sometimes they're left on the floor around where you cut things out, but you can use these if you want to do add them to anything or make a shaker card or something like that, because you'll have a lot of heart-shaped poop on your floor. Okay, so paper poop, I meant. So now I'm going to use the two stamps that I said work together, and I'm going to start with my, I think I'm going to start with my red first. So I'm using Real Red, and this has been cleaned, but once you stamp it in a red or red-ish purple, anything like that, once you do that, you are forevermore, your stamp will be pink. And that's okay, because it helps you to find it, but it won't ever look clear again. All right, so I'm just applying a little pressure there, and that is what I meant by distinctive. So you can see that it's not a flat image, like you can see some depth to the stamp itself. Okay, so now I'm bringing in my green, which is going to complete my heart image here. And let me see if I can zoom in to show you how I'm placing this, or attempting to place it. So I'm looking for the empty spots. Okie dokie. Maybe doing green first made more sense. Okay, I think that's going to be good. I'm just going to commit. I've got a sample to show you just in case it doesn't come out. Oh, no, pretty good. That came out pretty good. Okay, so that's how you get that's called two-step stamping. First step was the red, the second step was the green. Okay, so that is my image there. I'm going to take a very small piece of red behind this. If you watched the first video that I made, I glued it right down. But this video, I'm going to switch it up a little, and I'm going to put some dimensionals back here. Now, I want a fair amount of dimensionals because I really want to make sure it doesn't squish anywhere around these little hearts. And dimensionals are cheap, frankly. Don't shortchange yourself on dimension. That is a lot of dimensionals, isn't it? well, whatever. It's going to be good. Okay, so I was saying the first time I shot this video that my friend Kim used to, she taught me this trick that I did not know previously, and she would stab her dimensional backs with her picky tool, which is convenient because it's a lot less messy, because I usually just throw them all over my floor. But now look at that, they're all together. They can go right in my dustbin. Okay, so I cut a smaller piece, a slightly smaller piece of real red, and I'm putting it on the back like this so I can see that the entire image is covered. I want to make sure that none of my hearts were half covered, right? It's difficult for you to see, but that is cool, right? Because there's dimension. The red is further back in this card. Okay, now I'm going to use green glue. If you watched my first video, I had some issues with my green glue. And guess what? Still having issues with my green glue. So I'm going to use my my Stampin' Seal. Use any adhesive you want. It doesn't really matter. It's just a card front, so it's not, doesn't need to be super strong. Okay, there we go. So I just added an eighth of an inch border around this with the old olive, just to kind of pop it a little bit. My paper is cut hot dog style, which means it is 4 1/4 inches wide by 11 inches long, and it's scored at 5.5. I'm a lazy stamper, and I never score my paper unless I cut it hot dog style, because you have to. The paper doesn't really want to bend in that when you've cut the paper this way, the paper doesn't, right here at this hinge seam, what do you call it? This part. It doesn't work well unless you actually emboss it. Score it. So that's why it is scored at 5.5 inches. Okay, there we go. Real quickly, I am going to emboss a greeting on this. So I am using, I'm going to use some white embossing powder, and I'm using red paper. So I am using my embossing buddy. And if you don't own an embossing buddy, I'll tell you where you can get one, because you definitely need one if you're going to do any embossing. This is called heat embossing, and it's on page 83 of the current July to December catalog. You can find it right here, the Embossing Additions Toolkit, which comes with an embossing buddy, a brush for brushing off spots that you need brushed off, a set of tweezers, and a tray for embossing. It is a significantly better tray than they had years ago, which is what I'm still using. My embossing buddy is old, and I am still using it. This is what it looked like when I got it, and it lasts forever. So you will use it a long time. It's a good investment, because you definitely will use it for a very, very long time. Now, what I'm doing is I'm using craft ink. I'm using craft white ink, but you could get the same effect if you used Versamark ink. Basically, what you need is a slow-drying ink. So craft ink or Versamark are both slow-drying inks. So we're going to emboss or stamp the image in the ink. Stamp it onto your paper after you have used your embossing buddy. The embossing buddy, I don't even know if I mentioned what it does. It cuts down static, so you get less flyaway embossing powder. And as a result, you're going to get a cleaner image. Okay, so I'm pulling this over, dumping my embossing powder on, tapping it off, just to get rid of the excess. I'm going to bring in my heat tool. Stampin' Up! Has a heat tool that has two sides, or two different, two different heat parts to it. So the first one is just for drying ink. If you needed to dry, for various techniques, you might need to dry what you have worked on. And then the putter image is this one here that I'm using, and that is to actually melt embossing powder. So as I melt it, it's probably a little bit difficult to see, but as I'm melting it, the white powder is melting and giving you a really nice crisp image. So when you're done, that's what you've got. Looks like that. Okay. I'm going to cut my edges and do a very simple flag at the end. This is something I do often if I want something to have a little bit of a interesting look to it, and I either cannot find or it's not going to work to use a punch. I just do that there. So in order to get that, I just go in from the bottom at approximately the halfway point, and then from each side, I just go in to match that. And while it is not perfect, it comes out pretty good every time. Okay, let's put some dimensionals on the back of that. This is just slightly larger than a 1/2 inch. This is 5/8 of an inch, just to give me enough room to put my Happy Valentines on there. And then I'm going to put this at an angle, like so. Makes it a little bit more casual. I like that look like that. All right, and to finish off the front of the card, I'm going to use some of the pastel sequins that are also part of the collection that coordinate with this stamp set and paper. So there are gold, pinky, and purpley sequins, and then kind of blue and green sequins. So I'm going to use the gold ones for this one. And I'm using the other side of my picky tool. So I'm using the putty side. And I am going to put 3 dimensionals on here. They come, there's 300 of them, and they come in 2 different sizes, a larger and a smaller, with both. Whoa. I had double sequins on there. Okay, there we go. They come a smaller sheet and a larger sheet of the same colors. So that is the front of the card. To finish off the inside of the card, I'm going to use some Whisper White. That was a throwback. I'm going to use some basic white because this is obviously too dark. I need to have a lighter image on the inside. And I'm going to... I think I'm going to do it this way this time. So I'm going to pull in my real red ink pad. And this is a stamp that comes with the set. So I'm going to stamp this kind of on a little angle, again, making it a little bit more casual. If you make things casual, they're a lot more forgiving. Let's just put it that way. Okay, this comes together like this because it matches the punch. So that if you stamp it together, you can punch it together, and you get more bang for your crafting buck there. But I only want the top image. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to stamp the top image, and then I'm going to stamp off, or what I call decaffing it, so it will be lighter than the outside. And I think you can see it makes it a little bit, it's easier to line that up because I can see the dark red behind it. Okay, done. All right, now I'm going to put the words I love you in there because it's a Valentine's card. And I'll put that right down here. The lower you put the image, the less you have to write. Yes, you're welcome. That's my little tip. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. There are tiny little hearts that come with this as well. And I'm going to add those down here, full strength. And then I'm going to do the decaf version of the filled in part, like so. And I'm going to add this to a layer of green just to mimic the front of the card. So the front of the card has white, green, and red. So I'm going to do the same thing on the inside of the card. And the green is just 1/8 of an inch larger. So while I generally don't deal with 1/8 of inches, it's kind of nice if you don't really want that color to be too... I didn't really want it to be too in your face because I really like the red. I didn't really want a ton of green on here, but I liked how it broke up the white and the red. Okay, so that is the inside of the card. That is the outside of the card. All right, let me flip you down. Okay, so that's it for tonight. This stamp set, this suite, will be available starting on January the 5th, which is when the new catalog goes live. If you have not yet received your copy of the new catalog and you're a customer of mine, certainly reach out and I will make sure that that gets resolved ASAP. And if you have a different demonstrator, just get in touch with them and they will they'll take care of you as well, I am sure. So that's it. If you have any other Stampin' Up! Needs, and you probably do, because listen, right now is the end of the catalog that I showed you that had the tools in it. That is going away. It's only got a couple days left on it, a week or so. And lots of things in there are on sale for like a really significant bargain. And there are some things in there that maybe not on sale, but they're going away. So you definitely want to take a look at that. And you can find that in the last chance section of my website, bettyboop.stampinup.net. Or if you have a different demonstrator, just go to the Stampin' Up! Website and you'll be able to find that there. So that's called the last chance section. And that is the retiring items from the current catalog. There's also a clearance section, and the last chance and the clearance work the same way as when things are sold out, they're gone. So if there's anything that you see there, don't wait on it. I think we've all learned that in the past week. Don't wait on anything you see online that you need now, because once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So moving forward, these goodies will be available in the brand new catalog. I do have a class scheduled for January that I'm going to be talking more about, which uses the exact same suite, but in a less traditional way. So you'll be able to utilize this one stamp set and package of paper and accessories in lots of different ways to get the most bang for your crafting buck. Okay, that's it for tonight. I will see you next Tuesday night, which will be January the 2nd, I think, or the 3rd. Whatever Tuesday is next week, that's when I will see you. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help you out. Thanks again, guys. Take care.